Welcome to Newsmax TV. I'm Kathleen Walter. The shooting that critically hurt Arizona Democrat Gabrielle Giffords and left 6 other people dead has raised questions about the possible motive behind the weekend rampage in Tucson. Joining us on the phone for his reaction to how the media is covering and characterizing the tragedy is Brent Bozell, president of the Media Research Center, which tracks liberal bias in the media. He joins us now from Washington. Welcome back to Newsmax TV, Brent.
Thank you for inviting me.
Well, what kind of grade would you give the media for its coverage of this tragic shootout?
Well, from a standpoint of journalism, close to an F, because they have committed a mortal sin. They have raised as fact, or at least serious consideration, things that are simply not true, and are in such a rush to implicate conservatives when evil things happen, that they were doing that before they had even the basic facts of the story down, before they even knew the gender of the poor child that was killed. They were already suggesting that Sarah Palin might be to blame.
I want to ask you about Sarah Palin in just a couple seconds, but in reacting to the shooting, Pima County Sheriff Clarence Dupnick, who's leading the investigation, said that the vitriolic rhetoric on radio and TV does not come without consequences. Do you agree with the sheriff that partisan politics played a role in stoking anger in viewers who might think they're justified in taking violent action?
Now, as a matter of fact, this sheriff has been called to the carpet for doing this before, for vitriolic statements that are rabble-rousing. He himself has been called on the carpet for this. No, he was completely out of line on this. If there was a shred of evidence to point in this direction, then I would say let's have a conversation. But let me point out 2 things. One is, there's not one shred of evidence. And by the way, this person isn't even a conservative. We now know he's some kind of anarchist who liked the Communist Manifesto. But secondly, it is this: if you're going to say that conservatives somehow should be held accountable, what about the Unabomber, who allegedly had the Earth in the Balance book from Al Gore in his hut? What about the killer at who opened fire at the Discovery Channel here in Washington, D.C., and said that he was inspired by Al Gore? Are we going to indict Al Gore, therefore, or are we going to say that it's wholly inappropriate, wholly wrong, wholly out of line to suggest that Al Gore should be held responsible? Of course we're going to take that position. Well, the same thing holds true for the Tea Party, Rush Limbaugh, Glenn Beck, Sarah Palin, or anyone else.
Let's get back to Palin. She was harshly criticized by members of the left, including the very partisan Keith Olbermann, for the usage on her website of the crosshairs over Democratic districts considered vulnerable, including Giffords. Rahm Emanuel is notorious for saying never let a good crisis go to waste. Is this criticism nothing more than a page out of his playbook, an attempt to demonize Palin by attempting to link her to the shooting?
The Daily Kos whack job website has got targets over faces that they don't like. Barack Obama has said, they bring a knife, we'll bring a pistol. Now, anybody citing those quotes is going to say, well, that's just politics. When it's on the left, it's just politics. But when it's on the right, someone needs to be indicted for this. I'm so tired of this. I'm so tired of the double standard. This is a double standard. But look, at the end of the day, there are 2 things going on here. The first thing is that there are some on the left who truly do believe that conservatives are evil and conservatives are dangerous. They really do believe it. Secondly, this is a part of the campaign to delegitimize and ultimately to criminalize conservative thought in this country. Note how quickly the New York Times came out with an editorial calling for the Fairness Doctrine as a result of this. I mean, anything to pin to Rush Limbaugh or Glenn Beck or Sarah Palin or the Tea Party or you or me, anybody on the conservative side to delegitimize it, that's what they're going to do. That's the tactics of the far left.
You quoted President Obama a short time ago saying that during the campaign he said that if they bring a knife, he'd bring a gun, in reference to the left-right political battle. Should the president be held accountable as well for inflammatory rhetoric?
No. He has right. Everybody understood what he was saying. Nobody suggested that he was bringing a pistol to a debate. Everybody understood what he was saying. No, and conservatives don't. Conservatives are grown-ups about this. We understand the rhetoric of politics. The same thing, when people say, well, Rush Limbaugh wants the end of Barack Obama because he says he wants him to fail. Well, everybody understood what Rush Limbaugh meant by that. He said what he meant was he wanted Barack Obama's radical left-wing agenda to fail, and so do I. What is wrong with saying that? But somehow this becomes part of the delegitimization of the conservative movement. You're not allowed to express a thought that is contrary to the leftist mantra.
Brent, does the tone of American political rhetoric start at the top with President Obama? Does he set the tone for the nation?
I don't know that he does, that a president can or should be held to that. Look, every political leader should be held to a certain standard. I, too, I am concerned about the breakdown of civility in so many quarters. It is happening on the left. It's happening in some quarters on the right. But that's a breakdown of civility. And I wish we would address that. But just as I will address the breakdown of civility, doesn't mean I'm suggesting that somebody is evil and wants to harm someone else. I don't know that we've gotten to that point yet.
Okay, well, we know that shows or media outlets that emphasize confrontation and partisan slant get better ratings than those that don't. Should the media tone down the rhetoric?
I'm all in favor of hard-hitting debate, so long as there's a legitimacy to it. You can have civility to it. A rule of thumb that I follow in my staff: anything we write about someone, would you say to the person's face, "Could you have a drink with him afterwards?" If the answer is yes, then it's appropriate. If the answer is no, then it was inappropriate.
All right, Brent Bozell, president of the Media Research Center, thanks so much for joining us. It's always good to have you on Newsmax TV.
Thanks for having me.
And thank you for watching Newsmax TV.